Welcome to the Influential Personal Brand Podcast. This is the place where we help mission-driven messengers just like you learn how to build and monetize your personal brand. My name is Rory Vaden, and I'm the co-founder of Brand Builders Group, a Hall of Fame speaker, and New York Times bestselling author. And this show is to help experts learn how to become more wealthy and well-known. I know you're going to love it. Thanks for being here. Let's get started.
I know that we've all bought into the idea that more is better at some point in our lives, personally or professionally, whether it's more money, more things, more accolades, more accomplishments, more travels, more stuff, like more friends, more customers. Like, I know for all of us that we suffer from the I think I need more, or I think I want more syndrome at some point in our life. And maybe as you're listening to this, you're suffering from the more syndrome right now. But this is actually a conversation about how you build more with less. And really specifically, this is about how you build a better and bigger business on a smaller audience. And that's what we want to talk about. So there's a couple of things that I want to bring up. And a lot of this stems from an amazing conversation that I had with a phenomenal entrepreneur named Robin Robbins. And she's another redhead located in Nashville, Tennessee. I was fortunate enough to be able to interview her on our podcast, the Influential Personal Brand Podcast. Go listen to that episode. It is an MBA in entrepreneurial lessons. But there was something that she said in there that really got me thinking about this concept of less is more, right? Not more is more, but less is more. And she said in the interview, your company rides on the who, internally and externally. And we're going to talk about that for just a couple of minutes. And I think this is a really important thing because I think a lot of times when we think about the who, we think about one or the other. We think about, books like Start with Who, which is about like recruiting and hiring. And we think about cultural aspects of who we hire and how we build our team. And I think those are really important. In fact, we talked a lot about in this interview how hiring great leaders is how you grow your organization. It's like you will only grow as fast as you grow your leaders, right? Because you as the entrepreneur, the business owner, cannot do all the things, be all the things to all the people all the time and expect for you to grow. That's why so many of us wonder why we started our own businesses in the first place, right? Because there was this dream of time and margin and space and creativity and freedom. And then what actually happens is you're the person doing all the jobs and you don't even get to do the thing that you like anymore because you started it because you were really good at this one thing, but now you're trying to learn finance and accounting and billing and operations and customer service and all the things that you didn't even want to do when you got into business. But that's because you are not relying on the strength of a leader, right? And you don't have to have tons of people in your organization to make them super impactful. But one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever got is hire great people, pay them very well, and expect a lot out of them, right? And I think that it's a lot about who, right? One great person, one A player can do the work of three very average players. And I mean that. And I have seen that up and down and all around in my professional life. Is like one A player literally can do the work of three C players, right? And some of that's attitude, some of that's experience, some of that's determination. But a lot of it is really just work ethic. It's like, how hard are you willing to work to figure out the thing versus relying on someone else to figure out the thing for you? And I think that's a really important concept. If you're in that position of like, hey, I do want to grow, I do want to scale, then the first thing you need to do as you're thinking about growth and scale in your business is going, do I have leaders that can help me get from where I am to where I want to be? Because where you started won't sustain you. Right. And I think that's a really important truth. It's like what got you here won't get you there. Right. That's true. Right. The sales, the operations, the staff that's needed to go from 0 to 1 million is very different than 1 to 3, 3 to 10, 10 to 30, 30 to 100. That's a completely different ball game. It's a completely different level of systems and operations, staff skills, experience, and most importantly, people, right? It is a different level of people. And so, as we're talking about this concept of your company rides on the who, there's the internal components that, do you have A players? And are you paying them well enough that they're not just a paycheck away? And do you expect a lot out of them? Do they have growth potential? Do they like the culture? Do they like you? Do you like them? Those are all things that when we talk about building an organization that hinges on great leaders, and a lot of that is great leaders who can build great systems, right? It's like you are the assistant until you hire the assistant to do the jobs that you're currently doing, right? Because the thing is like somebody else will always be better at what you're doing because they can be more dedicated and focused than you can as the business owner. You should be doing other things, and that's getting clear on the money invested into quality people is worth it because it frees up your time to go do the next thing, whatever that may be. So there is this internal component of the who really matters, and a lot of the growth of a company is directly correlated to the quality of the leader, right? But then there's this external component that we talked about in this interview that I thought was also really awesome. And I thought this was really important. And I'm actually looking at my notes from this, and I loved what she said. She said, this is Robin. Robin said this: you get more customers when you get more specific. And you can go listen to the interview, but she has built a multi 8-figure business, I think somewhere in the 40, $45 million annual revenues, recurring revenue business. And what I love is that she shares this. She goes, there are very few people who can actually even buy what we offer. And I don't quote me on this, go listen to the interview, but maybe 10,000. That's it. So I think a part of it, she was like, we know everything about our customer, what they need, when they need it, what they can afford, what they're trying to do, what size they are, how many people they have, what revenue they're at. We know everything about them. And we have built our solution so specifically catered to this small group of 10,000 people. She goes, we have built a, $40 million business servicing a very even small fraction of that people. She was like, but our whole thing is we don't have to have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of prospects to build an enormous business. We just need to get so clear, so specific that we're so dialed in on that niche specific audience that we can get bigger with a smaller audience, right? That's because you can do more for that audience. It's the difference between doing a little for a lot of people or doing a lot for a fewer amount of people. And in her case, it's not super small, it's still thousands. But I think that's a really important concept because a lot of the more conversation that I hear in my world is I'm trying to get more followers, right? Specific on social media, or I'm trying to get more subscribers, or I'm trying to get more leads, and I'm trying to get more clients. And people are kind of consumed with this idea of I need more. And I just wonder why, right? It's like, do your current subscribers or current followers buy from you? I don't know. Maybe they do, but I bet a lot of you get most of your business from word of mouth and referrals and your current customers. And I bet that if we all took a really deep, hard look at who our audience is, we could all admit we don't need millions. Don't even need hundreds of thousands, don't even need tens of thousands. And most of us don't even need thousands of people to go after to build a very life sustaining, fulfilling, life giving business that's making a positive impact on the people that you're around, on your family. It could be generational change, and you could do that with dozens of clients. So, more is not always better. Sometimes less is better because you can do more for those people when you have less clients. And so I just wanted to challenge everyone in this conversation of going, you can grow to a very large size business with a very small client demographic. And you're able to do that because you know your client demographic so intimately, right? But there's not just the external who factor, there's the internal who factor, which is the cultural dynamics of you're only going to grow as fast as the leaders in your company, right? And I love this whole thing. It's like you can never grow faster than the systems that you put in place, right? And I think a lot of times when you do that is when you self implode. Like when you grow faster than your systems and processes can manage, is when we see these have amazing potential companies implode right before our eyes because they couldn't sustain the growth. They didn't have the right systems, the right processes, nor the right leaders in place to do the thing. Don't make the same mistake. Don't over